Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we've got an Alaska winter flying adventure. Well, what does that mean? It's the middle of July. Well, in Flight Simulator, you can change the date, you can change the time, you can change the weather. And I've done all of that to simulate the winter solstice in the interior of Alaska. Shortest day of the year, some of the coldest weather you'll find. Although, I said it so it isn't really cold. I'll explain in a minute. But, other than that stuff, it's going to be pretty typical. We're flying the Cirrus SR22, going from Fort Yukon to Chandalar Lake. 95 miles, 33 minutes. We're going at 14,000 feet. Climb aboard and let's go flying. Alright, well we're loaded in. So it's going to be a pretty standard start. Turn the battery switches on. I want to bump that down a little bit. It's kind of bright. Set that to GPS. Pretty typical setup. 14,000 feet set. Turn the FLC and set that to 110. So the outside temperature is only minus 20 Celsius. That's minus 4 Fahrenheit, which really isn't all that cold for here for this time of the year. Temperatures can be as low as 50 to 60 below. That's Fahrenheit, so that'd be about 45 to 50 below in Celsius, which is really cold. So this actually isn't too bad. Alright, let's just get the rest of this configured. Strobe lights, and I think we have a special procedure for starting the engine when it's cold. Maybe not. It's not in here. It might actually be up in this checklist here. Cold weather starting. So here we go. The ignition switch is off. We don't hand turn the prop in the sim. Mixture. So that's all pretty clear. So I guess the only real difference is that you hand turn the prop. So otherwise, we'll go ahead and do the following things. Mixture full rich. Boost on. Power full forward. And then we'll close it, pump it forward just a little bit here. And we'll clear left and right, clear left, clear right. Alright, and we are good to go ahead and engage the engine. Clear! Alright, oil pressure is immediately up into the green. Temperature is rising. It's probably... I'd imagine that oil's pretty thick, but... Sim isn't simulating that, so we're good for what we've got. Now you're going to see that this engine runs really powerful in the cold air. We're going to go ahead and lean the mixture out. There's also a lot of fuel going through it. So we're going to lean the mixture kind of with our standard. Trying to find the peak. That was... It was right there. Alright, we'll pull the power back to idle. And it's going to idle probably over 1100. Yeah. Yeah, it's slowing down to that. Where normally it would be about 1000 to even in the 900s. So what we got is good. We can turn the alternator switches on. Those look good. go ahead and turn the avionics on. And let's turn our nav lights on. Pitot heat is required, so that's something that we're going to turn on immediately. If we didn't, that had the potential to freeze over. Other than that, get the altimeter set. Just doing a couple things while we're here. Let's go ahead and take the park and brake off, and look at how easily this plane wants to start moving. There's that. Welcome to Fort Yukon. Above, or it's really the city sits mostly above, but part of it sits on and some of it sits right below the Arctic Circle. Actually, the Arctic Circle, I think, runs through the point of the runway here. We're going to taxi forward. I have to look and see exactly where it's at. Parking brake is set. Altimeter is 2992, so we're set with that, and the wind is going to be very calm. I'm going to go ahead and turn the landing light on, ice light, and... oh, well, actually, yeah. We can just turn the ice light off for now. Let's just check a couple things. Mixture's going to go full rich. Bit of a fuel increase right there. Let's turn some warm air on. Set the trim. For takeoff, check the flight controls. Rudder's good. Elevator is good. And ailerons are good. Back into the cockpit. Set flaps to half. Good on the left. Good on the right. Oh, by the way, it is about noon. And look at the sky. It looks like sunrise or sunset. Well, I'll explain that in a minute when we get in the air. This is going to be really cool. At least for me. I hope you all think it is too. Alright, power. I'm going to set for 1700 RPM. Just a little bit forward here. Back a tiny bit. And we're idling. That's good right there. Now let's just turn the ice light. And yeah. Electrical systems are looking good. We can shut that off. Let's do a quick mag check. 1697. Well, turn to the right mag. Good. Back to both. Now the left. Good. Back to both. All our engine instruments are in the green. No indicators. Everything looks good. Go ahead and pull the power back to idle. Alright, autopilot check. We can release the park and brake, and we're going to taxi to the left. Come down to the end of the runway. And we'll turn around. And we'll take off. Kind of rocking on the brakes. Just pump a little power in here. Try to get turned. That's actually not bad. Alright, power's set. Or no, sorry, the brakes are set. Not set, but they're held. We can go full power. And the plane wants to roll. But now, yeah, now it stopped. Alright. Release the brakes. Rotate at 77 knots. We'll lift off in the low 80s. Look at how fast our speed is going up. I'll explain that in a minute. All our engine instruments are good. There's 77. We're airborne. Positive rate of climb. We can go ahead and bring the flaps up. And look out there. Just wait till we turn. It's going to get even better. 400 feet above the ground. 600 above the ground. $800 above the ground. Let's begin to turn and engage the autopilot. Well, I guess it wants to turn us the other way to intercept the track. Nav mode was off. Okay. So what we're actually going to do is just go ahead and set the heading. And we'll turn for an intercept and take a look out over here as we turn. Look at that sun. Let's go ahead and turn a little bit more. Swing all the way around and we can set to intercept the course. We'll grab a look out here. Oh, and I told you it's noon. That's about as high as the sun is gonna get. Alright, and it should swing over to intercept the GPS track in just a moment. There we go. Probably get a good view of the town right here. Maybe not quite yet. We should though. Yep. And we're climbing really fast. We're getting great aircraft performance. So, the reason the speed went up so quickly when we put full power in and let go of the brakes, and why we're getting such good climb performance, is because the air is so cold that it's denser and we're getting better performance because of what is called the density altitude. Density altitude is something, it's basically altitude corrected for non-standard pressure and temperature. The standard pressure at that elevation, standard temperature at that elevation is probably somewhere around plus 10. No? I think it's actually more like plus 14. Or something like that. The standard at sea level is plus 15. But it's so cold that we're getting a notable improvement in our climb rate and speed just because the air is so much more dense and aircraft doesn't have to work as hard to push through the air. That makes sense. I'm trying to explain it simply. But, yeah, so you can kind of see the mountains out there. You can see the Yukon River, of course. And we're already halfway to our cruising altitude. There's the airport, and you may be able to see some of the city. Kind of down here. A lot of the buildings are covered in snow. Alright, back into the cockpit. Fuel flow. Oh, we need to pull back and lean that mixture out. That's gone up high. Now we got that high, didn't even lean the mixture. But we'll stay full power. And the boost pump stays in. And yeah, we just needed to have the mixture to the top of the, or the bottom of the green arc. Although if it's at the top, it's okay. It just kind of is a waste of fuel. Now something that's important to note is due to the limitations of the customizable weather in the sim, we can't simulate things like temperature inversions. You can do fog, So the temperature en route at our cruising altitude, like it says minus 40 right now. So it's probably going to be pretty close to about minus 50 by the time we reach our cruise altitude. That may or may not be 100% a real representation of what the upper atmosphere would be like over this area in the winter. So just be aware of that. We're going at 14,000 feet, and we're going to have so much power that we'll be moving pretty quick here. The sun has come up above the horizon, and that's because we are higher up looking out. So the curvature of the Earth, of course, the Earth being round, as you look, you'll start seeing that curvature more and more as you go higher up in altitude. So on the surface, you'd only see the sun just barely sitting on the horizon. But up here, it's a little bit higher, not only to account for the altitude, but also for the curvature that you would not get from the surface. Now, Fort Yukon sits roughly on the Arctic Circle. And by definition, at winter, the Arctic Circle is the limit to where the sun rises. Now, above that, you will see some sun just barely sitting on the horizon, just the very, very top of the sun. And that's because of atmospheric refraction and other things like that that I'm not going to spend a ton of time explaining. But as we go north, Chandalar Lake does not get sunlight on the winter solstice. Now, it will be light outside, like civil twilight, but when we land, we'll not be able to see the sun. Now, in the air up there, we probably will see the sun. Just look at that frozen landscape. I think it's incredible. I can't wait to do flights in the winter using the real-world time and real-world weather. That's going to be just super impressive. And I feel like this is malfunctioning. I feel like I need to recalibrate my throttle or something. There's peak power. Yeah, see, because that manifold pressure jumped up again like that. Shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, there's peak power pretty much. Manifold pressure jumped again. Kind of really stuttering around like that. It shouldn't be doing that. Let's leave it like that and see. Hopefully it stays put. But yeah, it's about 186 over the ground. Now 14,000 feet, that's about to be expected. Showing about 24 minutes, and realistically, we could climb. Could go up to 16,000 and get an improvement in the true airspeed. I'd say where we're at right now is okay, though. Now we get some pretty views. Wait until we get into the mountains that are just up ahead. That just looks so cool. About 20 minutes remaining. Turn the landing light off. Turn that off too. Let's go ahead and this is definitely one of my more experimental and casual flights, so I'm not taking all the checklists and stuff particularly seriously, although I am still trying to fly the plane properly. Yeah, it's saying about 19 minutes to go. And we're starting to come up into the mountains of the Brooks Range. It's the town of Veneti, I think, because I'm not 100% sure how you say that. Yeah, but it's right here. There's the airport. And then here's the town. And I think they get maybe 40 minutes where the sun is visible. It's almost 1 p.m. here, Alaska time. And that's as far as the sun is coming up. I just can't get over that view. It's remarkable. I'll wait at the park and brake. Come on. I clicked something off the flight sim. Wind should be calm at Chandalar Lake, so we're going to go in on runway 3. That's by far the better of the ways to try to land, and we'll go ahead and load that. Pull the map up and show you the route. So Fort Yukon is down here. We just passed the town of Veneti, or however you say it, and we come up. And there's the airport, so we'll probably turn and actually set a course out over toward the final. VNAV should be on. No, it isn't. Now it gives top of descent over there, okay. So we got some time up here at altitude. Here's the valley that the river flows through. And if we zoom in, I almost think I can see. No, never mind. I was gonna say for a second, I thought I could see just a tiny glimpse of the lake, but no. It's not. Something remarkable. And around here in the summer, in the solstice, when you get the midnight sun, it probably, I'm just guessing, would probably look something like this. Should be coming up on top of descent here in just a couple miles. About 10 miles, so probably in the next 3 to 4 minutes.
Empty hearts and neon lights. They're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly.
And we're gonna go ahead and descend down to, we'll set 5,000 feet, just to start, once we reach our point of descent. And the other thing, the limitation of the configurable weather in the sim, is that you can't really vary it between two airports. I mean, you can change it in the middle of the flight, but that'd be kind of, I don't know. It would seem a little inauthentic. Because you would see basically everything change at once.
Get me out of broken hearts and starting fights, turning truth to lies. Gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone.
It's probably ridiculously cold inside the cabin of this airplane, in the cockpit. But, we'd probably have the heat going full blast if we were in here in the real world. But, wow, it's a simulator. I can't wait to do some winter flights in the new Flight Sim 2024. That's coming out in November, because they're adding the Northern Lights. That's going to be amazing, because this part of the world, I mean Alaska as a whole, but especially the interior, like up here, has some fantastic views of the Northern Lights. Alright, coming up on top of descent, and it's saying about 12 minutes to go. Should start descending down. Yep, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and pull back on the power. It's about 40%, just to try to maintain our speed. And what we will have to do is make sure that when we descend, we don't go too low. To try to avoid mountains and stuff in the area. The good news is, from what I'm looking at, there's nothing... So there's one that we're going to be going over that's close to 5,000 feet. But by that point, we'll have the airport in sight and we can just fly visually. Everything that we're coming over right now, we should be totally fine. And as we start going lower, the sun's going to get lower and lower, and then eventually it's going to disappear. But just barely. So our route, we come up over a couple passes here, and then we'll basically turn. But what we'll probably end up doing is flying out, kind of visual, a little bit further. But the VNAV will tell us what we need to descend to and kind of keep us on the right path. We'll just have to make sure that terrain is not going to be an issue with the path that the VNAV has us set up on. And we can always change it if necessary. So the airport over here is going to be a little higher elevation, so it's probably going to be about minus, if I had to take a guess, probably about minus 24 Celsius, which isn't really that cold for that area this time of the year. It's certainly cold, but it's not as cold as it can be. Although Fort Yukon tends to be one of the coldest parts of the state in the winter. take a look out here. Oh, that's so cool. It's just that golden glow on the airplane. Makes it look like a yellowish, and then this looks more kind of teal rather than like a sky blue. Wow. Just look at that too. That's super cool. The transition from blue sky, kind of twilight. That's gorgeous. You can actually see a few stars up here. Wow. That right there is amazing. We're gonna have a lot of fun come time winter. Look at the moon. You can just barely see. Moon looks like it's setting. Wow. That's remarkable. Alright, back into the cockpit. Showing just about 8 minutes to go. We'll be on the ground in probably 10 to 11 minutes. Let's actually take... No, we're not going to activate vectors to final. So let's pull the flight plan up and actually set direct to fix a little further out. That'll give us just a little more room to get set up on our final approach. We're not going to have a lot of room to maneuver through some of these mountains. Of course, we do have the advantage of having the proximity for the terrain. So I'll make sure that we don't get too low. And we could even set a heading to fly. That would take us right to the fix. We did activate vectors to final. Set heading, and we'll set that there. And there actually is a mountain peak that'll be coming up that we'll be passing over on our approach to the lake. So tell you what, for right now, let's go ahead and just plan on leveling off at 5,500. We don't have any terrain that is closer than 500 feet to that. So what that means is basically we'll be at least 500 feet over every peak out here, as long as we stick to that. It'd be better to have 1,000, but because we do have to kind of get our descent set up, and we can maneuver too with the heading bug around some of these. Let's grab a view. And yeah, look at that. Sun's just barely sitting on the top of those. You can see too where it's just barely hitting the top of the mountain peaks, like right here, where it's just barely shining on the tops. And over here, and that's gorgeous. You look out this way, it almost looks dark. And I mean, in a sense, it is. It's twilight, because those northern areas like that are not getting any sunlight. All right, here we are at 5,500. And what we could do is just change our course slightly. But here's the lake. Airport's going to be right down there. So I say what we're going to do is we'll pass over that mountain peak, and then we will start a pretty quick descent. We're flying level at just under 40% power, and we're still doing, 133 knots. So we're quite fine on speed. But yeah, what we'll do is go ahead and pass over the top of this. It's this peak right here that's sticking out, and it is at 40. Yeah, about 4,900, a little bit more. It's less than 5,000, so we're over the 500-foot point. In fact, what we are going to do, though, is we're going to turn. Set up out over this way. Get a nice view of the peak. And a nice view of the lake. Take a look at this right here. That's pretty. I mean, it's probably frozen by this time of the year. Look right there. By the time we get on the ground, you won't see the sun, although you'll see it kind of hitting some of the peaks. And let's go ahead and disengage the autopilot, and we're going to fly the plane by hand. Let's take some power out, and let's go half flaps. Alright, do some landing items here. Mixture needs to go full rich. We'll turn the landing lights on. I believe the boost pump is on. Should be. It is not. Yep, that's why we check. And we have a lot of altitude to drop in a short time. You kind of see the airfield there. We also want to we kind of want to fly up the shore of the lake. High terrain right behind us as we descend. Let's let the plane just come down a bit. We can take some power out too. And we could go, well actually we're too fast right now, but I was going to say once we get our speed down, we can go full flaps, which will help us kind of steepen our descent. But I mean the airport's just right... Wow, it's kind of hard to see behind, like right here right now, but... And then we'll just follow this valley right here. Take the power out. Let's pitch up so we can get the speed drop, and yeah, we're good. We can lower it. Full flaps. And we need to lower the can't talk now. And we can lower the nose. Plane shouldn't pitch quite up like that, but okay. There's the runway, so we're going to make a turn and just follow the coast of the lake. Now there wouldn't be trees up that far up the mountains here. I think you have them just kind of the lower altitudes around the lake. A nice shallow turn, we can add some power in. Yeah, overshot final, just a tiny bit. We've got time to correct it. And we'll add a little bit of power in. And activate vector to final. And once we cross over what is kind of designated as the final approach fix, the purple or magenta diamond should come alive. It'll give us our glide path. There it is, and we're right on the approach path. We're set up quite nice. Good speed on the glide path. Runway's right ahead. See, all we get over here is twilight. There's no sun shining on the lake or on the ground around it. Only the tops of the mountains. So that one couple minutes ago, that one kind of last look back at the sun. I mean, we're set up almost perfectly right here. And no, it's actually about -21. It's just a little warmer. 500 feet to go, tiny bit low. But we've got plenty to work with here. Now we're high. Take some power out. We're also a tiny bit fast. We want to be closer to 80. And we're a little closer to 90 right now, 88. So let's go power full idle. Full out. Slowing down. We're looking really good right now, though we're a tad bit low. Add a little power. And let's just ease her down. Yes. Not bad. Let's take the flaps up. Nose wheels down on the brakes. Yeah, a little bit of that nose wheel shimmy. I don't understand why it does that. Now let's move over to the side. Let's get slowed down a little more. And we can turn and taxi back down to parking. It's not right there. That's like a turnaround area or something. Maybe run up. Now we're just gonna taxi. Keep the power back in. We can actually run through a couple checklists on the ground. Clean the mixture out about there. Idle power. A couple other things we could do. Put the transponder on standby. Fuel pump off. Yeah, we're rolling a little fast, but that's alright. And it's absolutely gorgeous. This is what it looks like a little after 1 in the afternoon up here. It's about all the sun you're getting. And that nose wheel shimmy again, but we're going over some rough surface, some rough terrain, as this is all just gravel. And it's not really graded, especially in the winter. So I would try to slow down. This plane just wants to taxi so fast. It's powerful. Let's get this view right over here, next to this plane. And we'll position toward it. Alright. Set the park and brake. We can turn the landing lights off. Heat will stay on for a moment. Yeah, just look at that. Gorgeous view of the lake. Under the golden sky of just the tracest bit of twilight before the sun would come up. And just where the sun is barely hitting the tops of the mountains. Wow. That's just lovely. Alright, back into the cockpit for a shutdown procedure. Power's idle. Pump the mixture up. You can go ahead and cut the engine. Alright, it has stopped. And we can go ahead and turn the ignition off. Turn all lights off. Heat off. And the avionics. Alternator switches, and the battery switches. Alright, well there we go folks. Welcome to Chandalar Lake, Alaska. Hope you enjoyed this beautiful winter flight. Thanks for flying with me. Hope to catch you all in the next one. And as always, until then, take care, stay safe. We'll see ya.